A sneak peek at what's coming up next.
How I feel. So I've been trying to find ways to describe it so that the people listening or you will understand things that were human being replaced by computers and letting the programs, whatever you want to call OnlyFans, the platform, the algorithm when it comes to things like TikTok, letting those things,
the social media ones,
letting those things dictate us and letting those things dictate our art. It's like we're letting the technology control us instead of us controlling the technology.
Oh yeah, we gave up our control many moons ago.
Welcome to On the Spectrum Podcast. My name is Steve.
I'm Nick. Why don't you just do it your way opposed to mocking me? Just do it your way. How would you do it? How would you do it?
I would say, all right. Welcome to On the Spectrum Podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm Nick.
You don't have to do NPR voice.
You are, so I figure I should.
NPR. All right. Today I wanted to talk a bit about AI.
Technology
in general. I know I sound like a broken record because we've had conversations before where I complained about, I sounded like a tree hugging hippie. It sounded like I was complaining about technology because on one hand, I love technology. I talked about this before, but I was thinking a little bit more about some of this stuff today. I watched a video on social media and it was this young girl, talking to her dad about starting an OnlyFans.
Wait. What?
Yeah, it was a video where this young girl, I don't know how old she was. She had to be, somewhere between 18 and 21, something like that. Young girl, talking about how she was making an OnlyFans, but she was telling her dad that she wanted to do it. And they had a conversation on camera. And he was saying, well, I don't particularly like it, but, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want. And he's like, I'm just more worried about your future. Like, if you want to do this now, and this is what makes sense for you at the moment. But he's like, what about when you're 40 years old? If there's pictures of you online, he's like, unfortunately, society isn't very accepting of those sorts of things. Like if you wanted to run for office or something like that, that might come up to haunt you later on. But at the same time, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want.
Well, so you started out saying a young girl talking to her dad. How old was she?
I like I said, I don't know exactly. Maybe 18 to 21, something like that.
Okay. Because the way you worded it to begin with, I'm thinking you're talking like a 15-year-old went to dad and was like, I want to do OnlyFans.
No.
Yeah.
No, a young woman.
It was a woman. It was a woman.
But to me, an 18-year-old is a girl. That's why I said. But it's
all right.
Young woman. An 18-year-old is technically an adult, but
that's yes.
But I still look at them like they're
I know.
So this got me thinking. It kind of got the squirrel cage going in my head, and I started thinking about OnlyFans, AI, and algorithms.
AI, OnlyFans, and algorithms.
Yes, and the way those all tie in together, it has to do with technology. It feels weird in modernity, right? That we
in what
modernity, like the modern world.
Oh, right. You've used this word before.
Yeah, it feels weird to me. Like on one hand, like I would consider myself more sex positive. I've talked before about how I don't think that prostitution should be illegal because to me, I don't think it's a crime if you sell your body to somebody else.
Right, if it's your choice to do so.
Right, if it's your choice, as long as there's not like sex trafficking or something going on. If you're choosing to have sex with somebody else for money, that's your decision. Same thing when it comes to any of those type of crimes. Like I feel like to me, prostitution is a victimless crime. Some people may argue otherwise. Whatever. The point is, if I can pay you to have sex on camera and it's porn, but if I pay you to have sex with me without a camera, then all of a sudden that's illegal.
Yes, supposedly.
And there was actually a stand-up comedian I saw the other day who made this joke. He said, it's legal to give somebody money, and it's legal to have sex with somebody for free, but it's not legal to do them at the same time. So you're saying the law is all about timing. You just can't do the two things at the same time. So I thought that was kind of funny, but it got me thinking. Like on one hand, sex positive, if it's your body, do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to sell pictures of yourself, whatever.
It's your body, do what you're going to do.
But on the other hand, there's like this, the thing that ties all of these together is there's like a weird feeling that I can't put into words. It kind of feels bad that people feel like, oh, well, this is just an easy way for me to make money. I'm just going to go sell pictures of myself.
But that's what people do. They find the easiest way. And by the way, I don't have an OnlyFans account. I don't know anybody with an OnlyFans account who does this.
Maybe they put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, like I don't know how hard it is or how easy it is to fucking get, loads of people to drop dimes on you just because you're showing your feet or your tits. I don't have any idea. But I can only imagine it's easy to run the OnlyFans account. I can't imagine it's super hard. And in that regard, that's what people do. They want easy. I mean, if you look at the three things we're talking about today, AI, OnlyFans, and algorithms, right? The algorithms make it easier for you to see the content you want to see, supposedly. It's easier to have more opinions just like your own. AI cultivates it all for you. AI will make a term paper for you so you can turn it into your science class.
I guess what I'm saying is, why does it feel bad though? Like maybe I sound like an old man. Maybe I don't know.
How dare you? That's my job.
Like, because I honestly don't care if people want to do it. It doesn't bother me.
Right.
Like, I don't care. I mean, if it was maybe my daughter or somebody that I was close to, maybe I would care more about it because it would personally affect me, if it's my child or something doing this. But I don't care what people want to do. But for some reason, it still feels bad to see all these young girls trying to make a quick buck by showing off their body. Or I don't know. I don't know why. Why does it feel bad to me?
So I will say this. I think maybe the intent is important. I think if the person does it because they think that's all they're good for, I think that's a bad juju on that. That's not good.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's like, well, maybe you could be doing something.
But what if it's a person who actually, truly, honestly wants to? Because, like, not everybody on OnlyFans is flashing some fucking body parts or
no, I mean, it was intended to be a
stuff.
service for famous people to connect with their fans, but also people do like cooking videos, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but it has a reputation because of
well, I read an article, and I don't remember when it came out, or I don't even remember the name of the article, actually. But I read an article a bunch of while back, that basically said that you could have a foot channel, basically just showing your feet, right? And you could make tens of thousands of dollars a month, male or female. It wouldn't matter. And it also said that women make more money on OnlyFans than men.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either.
Well, that also got me thinking about. I was thinking about AI at the same time because.
Yeah, you gotta help bridge that gap because how do you go from OnlyFans to AI or AI to OnlyFans? Because
OnlyFans is a relatively a modern thing.
Okay.
Like, it's been around for what, the past 6, 7 years, 8 years? I don't know how long it's been around. Maybe 10. But it's been around for a short period of time.
It's long enough where most people know what the fuck OnlyFans
AI is a newer thing. As far as it, it's not a new thing, but it's a new thing as far as the application. And the level of AI that we have now.
I mean,
like it's much more sophisticated.
The level that it's inundated to everyday life now is drastic.
So I guess the connection and everything is, I was reading all these articles about people losing their jobs to AI. So a lot of companies are replacing their employees with AI, laying off thousands of people.
Right.
And I see people complaining about it, and I understand, like, yeah, it sucks. So on one hand, like, because this is the same thing, like same thing with the OnlyFans thing. It's like, well, there's two sides to it, right? The same thing with the AI. On one hand, these companies have to adapt because if they don't, other companies will do it, or new companies will spring up who will replace them because they're able to do things cheaper operating with AI. And so they're actually preserving some jobs for people who work there and not just laying everybody off. They're trying to keep the company competitive.
Right.
But at the same time,
they're also capitalist whores.
But it also sucks for those people who are losing their job.
That's
On the other hand, it still fucking feels bad. Like, it feels bad to see all these people just lose their jobs because of how technology is progressing.
Did you also feel bad when all the Pony Express people lost their jobs to cars?
I wasn't alive then, but I might have.
No.
But the AI thing is different because it's not just affecting one industry; it's affecting lots of different industries. So, and like, there are going to be benefits, like I mentioned before we started recording, like medical benefits. There are computers that'll be able to help diagnose people with problems, especially if it's something that a doctor is having trouble to diagnose. They'll use They have AI who can analyze what's going on with you and more quickly come to a diagnosis or catch problems earlier than a human would. So there's medical applications that are going to benefit humanity, and there's lots of benefits to AI, but also there's all these, at least short term, and it could easily go down a dark path, or it could easily end up in a situation where, I don't know, 20% of the workforce is out of jobs because of AI in the next 10 years. I don't know. I'm just obviously pulling numbers out of my ass.
So,
but
can I give the old man opinion on this?
UBI? Is that what you want?
No, I mean, that's not the old man opinion. That would be my personal approach to it. Of like, if too many people end up losing jobs to AI or any major technological advance, if too many people, I think we really need to look at doing a UBI, because if we can run entire industries predominantly off of like 10 people, then why not do a UBI at that point?
Because at some point there may not be enough jobs for people.
So if we start instituting it now, by the time we get to that point, it ain't gonna be a big deal.
I would say just get rid of like unemployment, get rid of welfare, and just replace it with a UBI.
Right. I mean, that's essentially what you'd be doing anyway. Let me give the old man opinion on AI, okay? Or at least this old man's opinion on AI. I am not a fan. I am not a fan of AI at all.
You're not an OnlyFan?
I'm not an OnlyFan. I'm not a big fan of AI. Well, I'm also not a big fan of OnlyFans, only because of what it became. I like the idea that somebody could go on there, and that, I guess based on the intent you said, somebody could go on there who loves Transformers and have a channel talking about Transformers and interact with people.
Well, I think originally it was meant to be people who are like famous. So let's say you have Gordon Ramsay on there.
That did not work out well for them.
And then Gordon Ramsay people can pay Gordon Ramsay directly to see content that's limited to people. It's like kind of like a Patreon, but more following a person or individual. That's what it was originally intended for, as far as I understand.
Oh,
yeah. So like, let's say, I don't know. You mentioned Brock Lesnar earlier. Let's say Brock Lesnar wanted to open an OnlyFans, and it's just like he's posting behind the scenes videos of stuff he's working on.
Oh, okay.
Stuff, but it's stuff only for people who are paying him or only his fans. That's the whole point of it. That was the point of it.
See, this is how little I know about some things. All right, so but
it became like quickly a pornographic.
Yeah, it became everything very quickly becomes pornographic
because people figured out, hey, I can monetize my pictures.
No, somebody figured out I could monetize my nipple, and that's what it came down to. And I guess it gets real like perverse sometimes, but I guess honestly, there's also like not real bad too.
So both of us are kind of ignorant on this.
We are.
I've never actually. I've been to the website, but I've never actually like looked at anyone's.
See, I haven't even been to the website.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of content people post.
Mostly because you can get porn for free on the internet. Why would you pay somebody for content? Anyway, so AI. This old man's opinion about AI. I think as of right this second, because I haven't. The thing you're telling me about like diagnosing, that sounds pretty cool, but most of the times that what I see for the mass public, AI doesn't do nothing but make us lazier. It doesn't do nothing but make us dumber, make us lazier, and provide us with options that are well manufactured.
Okay, here's something that might blow your mind a little bit, because I don't know how much you know about this. Are you familiar with like AI companions?
What?
Yeah. So these are.
Oh, is this the replicant thing?
I don't know what you mean. Oh. So there's multiple websites that have AI, what you would call them. Some of them are partners, so some of them could be like an AI girlfriend or a boyfriend.
Yeah, the replicants.
But they also have other types of things like
no, there's a virtual pet one. Right,
but there's different kinds. Like there's some that will do like stories. There's some that will do like exist within a certain universe. So the AI is catered to like a certain universe or a certain story. So it could be like, let's say. They have a website, AI character website. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Character AI. But it could take a character from like an anime, and then it will be that character, and you can have conversations with it and stuff. But
my God, delusional motherfuckers would get lost in their shit on this.
But where I was going with this, with the AI girlfriends, with the AI characters, all that stuff, I think it's an evolution. It's a step above where we are with social media, hold on.
Yeah, no.
With it's an evolution of the dopamine crack addicts that we've become.
Yeah.
Like, so we're already hooked on our phones and social media.
Mhm.
People can't be without their phone for 2 seconds.
Right.
And now you have another source of hedonistic pleasure.
No. Let's also put this in yes.
And sorry, the
And
term
also-
some people might not like the term hedonism.
Yeah,
Because
whatever.
I'm not trying to apply a moral judgment per se, but I think at the end of the day we're all human beings.
Yes, we are.
And it's very hard for us to control ourselves when we're
Yeah.
inundated with all of this. Like, I don't even have to go out and talk to a real girl. I can just talk to this
that's what I
AI
was gonna say
girlfriend
on
and she'll
this.
do whatever I want.
That's what I was going to say on this, because it's not even just hedonistic. It's giving us one more reason to not talk to another living human being. And think about the implications on our community, a group of people who already doesn't quite like to talk to other people as much or interact with the rest of society as much because of one reason or another. And now you're giving us a way to completely get away with that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like that AI is going to be like, oh, you said something rude. No.
Yeah.
It's pre-programmed. But so that's, again, you're actually kind of making a little bit of my point there about it being
Right. And that's what I said
About it
before.
being
There's I
easy.
think there's pros and cons to it. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of good applications for AI.
The-
There are programs
the
that
medical one is the only one so
no,
far.
I think
The
that
medical one is the only one
there
so
are
far.
AI applications that save you. I think if you can save people time, you may call it laziness, but if I can,
It's lazy when a college student types in the name of the paper they want and Chat GPT writes the whole fucking paper
yes,
for them.
but in that particular instance, the journey of creating that paper serves a purpose itself. Whereas
what? What journey?
The process of writing I'm saying if you write it without using AI.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying the process of writing a paper serves
Right.
a purpose in itself.
Yes.
If I use an AI, which I've been testing out an AI to make some clips for us from the show.
Yes.
So I make clips myself, and I also have the AI make some clips. Now,
Can
I don't
you
see-
tell the difference?
I don't see any downside to using the AI to make some clips for me. It's just saving me time. And if I don't like the clip it makes, I won't post it.
I don't see a problem with it either for you using that, but there are also people out there who don't have the editing skills that you have, don't have the know-how that you have for editing, who are using that program to avoid learning how to edit.
Right, but will this also be a skill like calligraphy that won't freaking matter, or a skill like a penmanship that won't really matter? Because at some point, if everybody's using AI to edit, then nobody needs to know how to edit because AI does it.
Because as of right now, that AI editing program isn't as good as yours. It isn't as good as you doing the edit because you're actually cutting the line where it needs to cut at the beginning and the end of it. Some of those clips are a little choppy looking. So they're not
yes, but it's
perfect.
still in its infancy.
Yes,
Imagine where it will be in the next 5 or 10 years.
Well, I won't have to have you in a podcast with me. I can just have a virtual person.
You could have a
apparently.
virtual me.
Why would I
may
want
be-
a virtual you?
There are actually probably enough hours of me talking.
Oh, good God.
That have you? I don't remember.
I have seen. I've heard of
Yeah.
this. There's a company that a celebrity can actually hire that will make commercials and voiceovers and online advertisements
Yep.
with the celebrity's face for them.
Well, I wasn't even going to say the face,
Oh.
but just the voice itself.
Yeah, the voice
You can
and face.
train. There's AI. There's an AI that exists that you can
Yep.
take hundreds of hours of somebody talking,
Yes.
and then recreate their voice with AI that'll sound almost exactly like them.
Right, and it'll say whatever script and
Yeah.
pitch and promote whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, there's a company
So
out
you
there that
could
does it.
theoretically have a conversation with an AI Steve.
I don't want to ever
Especially
have
after doing 100 episodes together, you would have enough.
No,
probably.
I don't want to do that.
Like-
we're almost up to 1 year.
I would be
We're almost
impressed if the AI made fun of you. That would impress me. If it was as witty and it had some zingers like me, then I would be impressed.
Now, I would be impressed if it came up with its own.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Because if it's
if
got
it just
100 hours of
repeated,
you
if it
making fun of
repeated
me,
my jokes,
Yeah.
then it's not that impressive. But
Right.
if it was able to take my sense of humor
right?
and then come up with jokes or ways
Yeah.
to pick on you, but using my style of
Yeah.
humor, then that'd be impressive.
So I will say that the more and more we use AI, and you're right, AI is in its infancy as of right now, but as things progress further, and the more and more we rely on it, the more and more we inundate it into our lives. Yes, some things will get easier, quote unquote, I'm going to say it's also going to make us a lot lazier about a lot of shit.
This is what I was saying.
But it's also going to make people superfluous in a lot of ways.
This is what I was trying to express, but it was hard for me to articulate my feelings about, is that I actually like AI, and I think that there's a lot of good applications for it, but there's still this like feeling where it feels like something's wrong. It feels like maybe we're going down a wrong path as a species, as humans. Something feels off to me about it. Something feels wrong, and I can't articulate the feeling.
See,
it's the same feeling when I was thinking about, like, there's nothing wrong with young women. I actually mean young women.
Yeah, you do, because every time you say young girls, somebody gonna get a wrong
I know,
impression.
but I think 18 is younger. Anyway,
I know.
When I see a bunch of young girls trying to do OnlyFans, there's nothing wrong with it if they want to do it.
Right.
But it still feels, if it feels like a weird society to live in, where this is the first thing that people go to sell pictures of their butthole to make money.
And if they have a pretty butthole and people want to see their butthole and they're willing to show their butthole,
but is that just me being like a sexually conservative or something like that? Well, because I don't think that I don't think I'm a prude necessarily, and I don't have a problem. Like, I try to be sex positive. People can have whatever. Like, I don't shame people for their kinks or for whatever they want to do. I don't care. But it just feels weird that this is like it feels almost like a default thing that and by the way, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, because it's not like every single young woman is signing up for OnlyFans, but
right. I mean, it's not like a vast majority.
No, but you just see, but you see a lot of people doing it, and it's just like,
really,
yeah, it just feels
like
a lot of people. Yeah, there's quite a bit. I could look up the numbers if you really want.
You know what? I'd really appreciate it if you looked up some fucking OnlyFans fucking partners, accounts, people, whatever. Just don't show me what the fuck they do, because I don't care.
I can't find my mouse.
What?
I was having trouble finding my mouse.
So, I don't give a shit. If people want to do porn, I don't give a fuck, man. If you want to fuck for money, go fuck for money.
70% of OnlyFans are women. 29% are men.
Great.
It doesn't give me a number though.
Yeah, I need like actual numbers.
Not that that's kind of not really the point, but the whole point was, like I was saying with the AI, is that there's something that I can't put my finger on that just feels bad. It feels like, as a society as a whole, maybe I'm like that's kind of where I'm saying maybe I'm an
female OnlyFans creators earn 78% more than their male counterparts on average.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably.
Wow.
I wanted an actual number of creators.
Yeah, like I actually want an actual number. Like, statistics are fun and all, but I need an actual number.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, no,
because it's not really the point of what I was saying.
No, it's not the point to it. It's just you're saying a lot of people, and like, even if it's 4 million fucking creators on OnlyFans.
Well, we know there's 70%. So if we get the total number.
Okay, what's the total number of
AI
OnlyFans
statistics 2024? 190 million active users.
No, that's active users.
Creators, 2.1 million of
there you go.
Creators.
So 2.1 million creators.
This is as of, I think this number's out of date though. This is from 2021. So this number, I'm assuming this number's gone up.
Yeah, but I can't imagine drastically. But anyway, 2 million people, 2.1 million people. 2.1 million people are creators.
Right.
I would not. Okay, so this is going to sound dumb, but I would not say that's a lot of people.
Depends.
And I'm comparing that to the planet Earth.
Okay.
There's like 8 billion people on the planet.
How many people have access to making OnlyFans in the entire planet? There's people who still don't have like.
More than
there's still people who don't have a reliable internet connection,
or
maybe
more
a
than
smartphone.
4 billion people have the ability to be content creators.
So
on the OnlyFans,
where I was going with all this is there's just something about everything that feels bad. But
it sounds like a moral objection that you have.
It's the same objection I have with the OnlyFans thing is the same objection I have with the AI. It just feels bad to replace people, even if there's lots of benefits to AI. It still feels bad to like, it feels bad as like, are we moving in the right direction as a society?
I'm going to say in two directions, yes and no. And that sounded like I didn't have a decision at all or an opinion, but I have an opinion in both directions. I think it's a good thing, one, because we can move towards taking care of people better. On the other hand, AI is bad because you've given an example of why it's going to make people even less social than they already fucking are.
Okay, so
including people in our community itself being autistic.
Here's how the algorithms tie in, because I think the algorithm thing will also help explain why maybe I feel a similar way about AI and why I feel a similar way. Let me explain.
Yeah, no. Do you think?
Why I feel a similar way with OnlyFans and with algorithms. So people who create content, right? There's this idea that you need to draw people in with some sort of hook, and you have to follow certain hashtags, follow certain formulas in order for your content to be seen. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are creative, who are artistic people, and instead of creating the content or the art that they would like to create,
right,
they're forcing themselves into a box to kind of fit this weird dystopian I don't know. It's basically like there's this invisible robot. You got the algorithm, this computer model that determines what gets seen and what doesn't. But also, it's our own faults because we're hooked in by the things that we're hooked in. There's certain things grab our attention as human beings. But it feels like there's a lot of people out there who maybe could be creating beautiful paintings. Mm-hmm. There are. Before I get into this, because I know people are going to say, well, there's plenty of creators on the internet who are making music and making paintings who are successful. Yes, but there's also many more people who are doing whatever they need to do just to get some sort of attention at all. Instead of creating the art they want, maybe they're not writing a poem, they're not writing the book they want to write, they're not doing whatever it is they actually want to do with their art, but they're trying to fit themselves into the box to fit what the algorithm...
They're doing whatever's popular, whatever's trendy. That's what you're talking about.
Sort of, but it's also, even if you're doing the type of art you want to do, but you have to try to fit yourself into the box of what, like, you have to check off certain boxes if you want your content to get seen or if you want to try to make any money with it. So it's kind of like bands when they would sell out or they would work with when musicians would work with a studio or a record label, and the record label would force them to create music they didn't want to, or force them to change their music because they said, well, this is not going to be as marketable unless we do this, unless we do that, and forcing them to change. It feels like everybody kind of does that when it comes to social media. We're all trying to, people who create content, you're trying to, you want your content to be seen, you want to be able to do something with it, but it feels like you're kind of forced to play the game. And I feel that's kind of the same thing when it comes to why it feels like maybe the OnlyFans thing feels bad, because it feels like, I don't know, like you should be able to do what's in your heart. I feel almost like it's missing the human element of the soul. Like, it's kind of like, have you ever heard of AI music? Speaking AI,
I'm assuming it's music.
I'm trying to tie all the stuff together, but there's something missing from AI art. In AI music. It lacks the human dimension, the soul, right? Okay. When somebody creates music, back when people used to actually make music, and it wasn't, so the way they make music nowadays is they record, let's say you record a beat. Yeah. The drummer plays the beat once and then they just repeat it over and over again. Like they just get one good sample and they repeat it. Right. Instead of the person actually playing the whole song through. Okay. At least for the record, right? Overly produced music. A lot of people complain about overly produced modern music because it feels like it's missing some of that same soul. Like if you go back and listen to like Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, even the Beatles, or any music before it was like overly produced like it is nowadays, those musicians actually played the songs from beginning to end, and the BPM would fluctuate throughout the entire song because no human has perfect fucking timing like that.
BPM is beats per minute.
Right. Human beings. But it seems like us as human beings, we subconsciously pick up on the minor imperfections, and it feels more human. It feels like it has more soul to us versus when we listen to overly produced music, it feels robotic because it's too perfect. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying because I've heard this from musicians.
Am I making any sense? So
it all makes sense.
It feels like the same thing when I'm talking about AI, when I'm talking about the OnlyFans thing, and I'm talking about fitting into the algorithm.
OnlyFans seems like it's missing the human element to you.
It feels like people
I'm pretty sure her tits are rather human.
It feels like people are making themselves into a commodity
Yes.
but not a commodity in a soulful way, and for lack of a better term.
No. And I think there are probably going to be people who are going to argue that's the detriment or the poisoning that capitalism has had.
I don't want to sound like I'm having a moral panic or something, because I'm not a conservative Christian who's like, oh, you can't do that. Like, I don't have a problem with people creating nudes or people creating porn.
No.
That's not my problem. It's just there's something that's hard for me to explain. This feeling, this emotional thing I have about it, where it just kind of makes me go, like, I feel like something's wrong with all the AI that's taking over people's jobs, with all of people going into kind of like this, the social media addiction, the constant dopamine fixes, the hedonism. It feels bad. I don't know how to explain it other than just something feels wrong about it.
It also sounds like you're merging a fuck ton of things together.
But it makes sense in my brain.
I know it does.
It's like that meme of Charlie Day when he's got the board behind him and all the fucking pins.
Oh, yeah.
He's like that. That's me right now. I'm like,
no, and I get it, and I'm trying to stick with you the best I can. But like, to me, they're all separate things. But that's because I'm not thinking about this in the same way you are. Do I also understand the moral implication that you're talking about? I do. It just doesn't affect me the same way it does you.
The way they connect in my head is that it feels like there's a common connection between all of these, which some of it has to do with capitalism, some of it has to do with consumerism.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of this really you're talking about is.
But it's this general sense that, this is me trying to explain it to you because I haven't been able to really express how I feel. So I've been trying to find ways to describe it so that the people listening or you will understand.
I appreciate that.
I think part of it is like things that were human being replaced by computers, and letting the programs and the whatever you want to call OnlyFans, the platform, the algorithm when it comes to things like TikTok, letting those things,
the social media ones,
letting those things dictate us and letting those things dictate our art versus us just being who we are as human beings and letting us express ourselves. It's like we're letting the technology control us instead of us controlling the technology.
Oh yeah, we gave up our control many moons ago. Sorry.
If that makes sense. That's kind of how they all tie together to me.
But I want to jump on this algorithm thing.
A quick message from our partner.
Hey, it's Steve from On the Spectrum. I wanted to take a moment to thank Fidgety for partnering with our show. Fidgety is a t-shirt with a poppet woven into the fabric. They're designed for children and adults who can benefit from stress relief tools. They're non-intrusive and silent, ensuring they can be used without any unwanted attention. I've got one on right now. The shirt feels great, and the poppets are easily accessible at any time. If you'd like to check them out for yourself, go to fidgety.com. That's FIDGETTEE.com. Use promo code onthespectrumpod for 20% off.
And now back to the show.
Because I was listening to a certain somebody's podcast the other day, and I don't agree with everything this human being says, but he's got a rather popular podcast out there, and the person was talking about how the algorithm itself has been more detrimental than the social media sites themselves.
When the algorithm, by the way, I think what you're referring to early, because I think I know the context of what you're talking about. Oh, okay. We're referring to like YouTube, TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Social media algorithms, the ones that cultivate your content and show you different videos that it
create echo chambers.
You want to see that. And that's what they were talking about. Creating echo chambers. It's only showing you content that is similar to what you've already seen. So then
that's how people fell into the alt-right shit during the Trump administration.
That's how they also fell into the far left thing. Can we come up with a fun name for them too?
There's no such thing as the far left, Nick. It's a figment of your imagination.
Bullshit. So in that same episode, a certain somebody was talking.
Far left is utopia.
Whatever. If that's what utopia looks like, the rest of us should fucking shoot ourselves in the face. Sorry. Because it's not all fucking rainbows and unicorns on the far fucking left. I mean, they talk about everybody being respected, but that level of respect, and this is part, and I don't mean to jump on far left people actually, but I think this is what those algorithms on those social media sites, that's what it's doing.
I've said this many times on the show before, and I think this is kind of where you're going with it,
Yeah.
is you should never let yourself become ideologically possessed. You
Yes.
should never let an ideology run your whole life and the way you think about everything.
Yes.
You should look at ideologies and ideas as tools in a tool bag. And so even when it comes to politics or it comes to anything, like if you have a lot of far left beliefs, you don't necessarily need to apply those far left beliefs in every single situation, every scenario in life. Sometimes you need to look through things through a different lens. Like when you're looking through a microscope, you're looking through a pair of binoculars, you use different tools. You're not going to use binoculars to look at the moon. You use a telescope. You don't use a telescope to look at bacteria. You use a microscope. You use different tools depending on the job.
Yeah. So basically, like I've kind of taken it upon myself on my private account on the TikTok. I've started purposely looking up some of the people that you've sent me videos of and some of the names of people you have thrown out at me. And I've purposely been typing them in and clicking on some videos and shit just so I can get some mix up in all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing way more, and I didn't type this in, but I'm getting way more comedy stuff by trying to mix with that algorithm and try to, get a little bit more of a variety of things. I'm getting way more comedy, like jokes and clips and shit, which I find hilarious. But I don't know. But I've been doing it on both sides because the person's podcast who I was listening to, they were talking about how that's one of the things they believe is creating even more of the sexism, racism, divisiveness, the echo chambers, what'd you call it? What kind of ideology?
What?
You called it a minute ago. What type of ideology?
I didn't say specific. I just said like ideologues.
There you go.
Ideologue is like the noun.
You used a specific phrase to describe it, and I was
call
hoping
them
to God you could say
I call
it again.
them
But
idiots.
yeah, all right.
If you're an ideologue, you're an idiot.
So I think those algorithms are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is give you content similar to what it is you look at.
Do you know why?
But
you know why it does that?
Hold on. Why is it designed that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, to fuck with people, make people want it more. I get it. Hold on. So if it's going to give you content of what you already saw, it's going to harden you in your belief, though, even further. And that's one thing some people don't understand, or they don't seem to understand, is if you already hold a belief in something, or you even slightly lean in a direction, and if you hear 4 other people agree with you, you're even more hardened in that belief.
No, it's reinforcing
true. Yes. I'll say hardened into it because
it's reinforcing the belief, even if it's not true.
Yeah, there's a level of whether it's reinforcement or brainwashing, but either way, it kind of works out to be the same.
Yeah. So on one hand, like I understand people don't want to be triggered and they don't want to necessarily be exposed to things they disagree with, especially if it's something hurtful. Like
you know what? It's good to be triggered in a safe space. Good.
I understand why people don't want to necessarily be exposed to content that goes against things that they believe in, especially if it's something that they might consider hateful or something that might be offensive to them. At the same side, I think though, if you're only living in these echo chambers where you only hear one specific thing or one side of things or the side you agree with, there's some downsides to that. One, because when you are exposed to those things, it's going to hurt you or bother you more. It's going to make you more uncomfortable because you're not used to it. You're not going to be desensitized to that. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, if you strongly disagree with somebody, being able to, assuming that it's something you're actually interested in doing, because some people don't really give a shit about defending what they believe in.
Right.
But if you actually have a conversation with somebody, or if you wanted to debate somebody, you need to understand not only what the other people believe, but why they believe those things in order to actually have an effective debate with them.
Whoa, but they don't care why somebody believes it. They already know why they believe it, even though they've never asked you a question about it. Yeah. Well, because they're just shitty people. Oh, they're just ignorant. That's why. No, like I've said this before to you, and I'm going to say it again. I think I've said it on this podcast, but I'm going to say it again. If you have not heard that individual's opinion about whatever subject it is, then you've never heard it before. If you've never asked that human being why they believe what they believe, but you heard it from somebody else, you haven't heard this person's. Give them time to express why they
I'm gonna call this episode AI algorithms and OnlyFans. Oh my!
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I just thought of that now.
That's awesome. So it's just a thing of like, I had somebody the other day who said they were not going to engage in a conversation with me because they've heard it all before. And I said, I'm not sure how you could have heard it all before. You're just now meeting me. And they said, well, I've heard other people say it. Well, don't write me off just because somebody else had a similar idea to me or a similar opinion to me.
Well, they probably looked like you.
Well, they probably did. But don't write somebody off for that. Just because, and this is going to sound really fucking dumb. This is going to sound really dumb, so anybody listening to it, still listen, but this is going to sound really dumb, then let me explain.
By the way, if anybody understood what I was saying before, let me know.
They did.
If I made sense when I was saying as far as how all those things connected to me.
Yeah, I caught you. It was a little strange. But here's the thing. If somebody says something racist, okay, ask them what they meant. Don't assume you know what they meant. And if you're not willing to give them the time to explain themselves, okay, then you yourself need to shut the fuck up about your own opinion as well.
Well, hold on.
Come on, give the other human being an opportunity to explain themselves.
I think I need to play devil's advocate here.
Please.
All right, so it depends on what you mean by saying something racist.
No,
like if somebody
says
just
something pseudo-racist, okay?
Like if somebody just turns around and says the N-word to a black person, that's different than like saying something that's ignorant.
So I guess intent is important here in this then.
But also that person, especially, let's say you're a black person or a person of color, BIPOC.
Yeah.
And you are, let's say, because of your surroundings or how you've grown up, you've been exposed to ignorant people quite a bit who've said stupid shit. Yeah. At some point, you may not feel like having to explain it anymore because you've already dealt with a bunch of people.
I'm not asking the BIPOC person to explain it.
I know, but you're saying that they should give them ask them what they mean or have them clarify instead of assuming necessarily. But I'm saying that if it happens to you frequently, at some point, you'd probably be frustrated and not feel like fucking engaging in that conversation anymore.
Absolutely.
You might be like, I don't want to talk to this person. Sure. I'm just going to, because maybe my assumption that they're being racist or ignorant is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I don't want to invest the mental energy in that to figure it out.
You're right. But then why should they bother to expend any energy or mental any time or effort trying to figure out that they're fucking racist?
That's me playing devil's advocate as a white person because I don't know what that experience is like.
And I was just using racism as an example, but there's a lot of opinions people have that people immediately read. Example, not a great example, but an example. That comment when I was talking about levels. Don't say the person's name, but somebody did a comment on.
I wouldn't remember their name anyway because I'm really horrible at remembering names.
But the comment, they said something about the levels, and then I immediately went into the diatribe about what we're actually talking about when it comes to levels.
Right, but I thought that you had misread the comment.
Yeah, and I might have, but I'm going to use it as an example for this because they heard something we said, okay, or at least this is the way I interpret it. So just fucking go with it. They heard something we said, something small, something minor, and then decided to let us know how they felt and made assumptions about what we were saying in the process. I'm saying, instead of making the assumption of that you understand exactly what the person means when you only get like a sentence, like a tweet or some shit, something small, ask them what they mean. Don't assume automatically that the person is just an ignorant, sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, chauvinistic, misogynistic asshole. Give a little bit of benefit of the doubt. That the person may have just misspoken, or maybe they mean it differently than what you assume. Because I will say this, and this is why I'm bringing this up, because the algorithm fucking thing. In our community, there is a certain word that identifies somebody who has low support needs. I would refer to them as level 1. Some people in our community use level 1, but it's a word that has a not great history to it, but there are still millions of people who identify based on this word, based on this name of a former diagnosis. And I'm being really careful to not say it right now, because some people will hear you say it and immediately think you believe in that version of supremacy of that word. And what did somebody say on that live?
Oh, no, they were saying that some people consider it anti-Semitic.
There you go. So, but there are millions of people who still use that word as their identity as their
Well, those
autism.
people are wrong and they need to be cleansed.
But
by cleansed, I
God.
mean they need to they need to be cleansed in the sense that they need to change their brains, their minds need to be corrected.
But what I'm saying with that is
the words need to be corrected.
instead of talking to somebody to find out what they mean by it or how they conceptualize it or whatnot, people jump down other people's throats. Now, I will say in my line of work, people still use function language, and there's a reason for it. Usually it's people that are clinicians or doctors or medical professionals.
All bigots.
Sure. But most of the time when somebody's using function language in my line of work, it's not being used to diminish or demean somebody, nor are they trying to say that the person is lacking per se, but it's more about identifying the support needs of somebody and or what directions in which to work on with the person. So I deal with, in my line of work, I deal with people who are a little bit more on the severe side of all of the disorders, whether they're intellectual disorders, social disorders, whatever they are, emotional disorders. I deal with the more severe side of them. And I should say in my new line of work, because I was doing addiction work at one point. So being able to identify the function of somebody, being able to identify some of it, but some people get pissy about the function language. We'll find out what, like if me and Steve use function language, in some of our previous episodes at the very beginning of the podcast, we were using function language because I still don't have a problem with it personally. But what we meant by it was not that someone is lesser than somebody else. We weren't trying to demean anybody in the process, and we weren't trying to say that the person is not capable of anything. But find out what the person means by it. Am I making myself fucking clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Just give the person benefit of the doubt. Don't automatically accuse them of being shitty. And just because you're in a small little fishbowl of folks who don't agree with a certain thing, that doesn't mean all of the community in which you're a part of agrees with you.
Well, I'm glad that we've established that you're a bigot, so we can.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, there are times where I still use function language, but it's much easier to communicate to somebody that somebody has lesser functionality on a societal basis than another person than trying to say an assortment of other shit. Like, it's a much faster way to communicate, and a lot of people, a lot of clinicians kind of, it makes sense to them, especially because the level language and the support need language hasn't quite gotten fully to everybody as far as clinicians and caregivers goes.
Okay.
I do a lot of educating when it comes to like levels, the level 1, 2, and 3. I do a lot of that. I do a lot of educating for that. What?
Nothing.
What?
I don't really know where to go from here.
Oh, no, I was just
we
trying to...
We were talking about...
No, it ties into the algorithm. I'm sorry. Maybe I
went off on this tangent about levels and all that. Okay.
Hold on. I'll tie it back. Because I did have a reason why, because of algorithm. Sorry, let me round it back, okay? So the algorithm thing. When you're on TikTok and you watch a couple of creators who say, fuck the function language, fuck Asperger's syndrome, fuck the levels, there's only high support and low support needs. And you're only listening to a shit ton of content creators who say, fuck all the rest of that stuff. It's ableist, it's hateful, it's bad, icky. Only use the support needs language. And then and you're only listening to that for like weeks on end. And then somebody new pops up, or you hear our podcast and you hear us using different language. You might get a little pissy that we're doing it because you just heard all these other weeks of different content creators say, nobody in our community says that anymore. But that's not true. And because you watched one video that way, you'll see more videos like that. And kind of the point I'm making with that is, please try to go out of your way to hear somebody else's opinion. Actually hear their voice, opposed to stifling their voice just because you automatically assume they're fucking wrong.
Instead of listening to Michael Stipe's voice?
Yes, don't listen to Michael Stipe's voice.
Oh, okay.
He was REM.
Have you seen how he looks nowadays?
Wait, he was REM?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very grizzly. He's got like a big beard and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't he like shave off all of his hair at one point in the 90s and shit?
Yeah, I think he's still bald. He's just
Oh, he's just got a big ass beard now.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, no, I agree with you because people have tendency to do the trendy shit on different social media and all that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Night swimming.
Yeah, that's it. Wow.
Deserves a quiet night.
Fucking that picture, he looked homeless. Anyway. So no, it's just there was and I've talked about her before. There's a young lady. Actually, I don't know if she identifies as a female or not. I've never seen a video where she didn't, but there's a young person who was early diagnosed in life, and they have tendency of talking from a very young person, early diagnosis perspective, especially about some of the language that's used. And I stopped watching the person's videos because they were, to me, they were just coming from a place of being judgmental and coming from a place of, I know best. And for one, if you're that young, no, you don't. You don't know fucking best. I'm not saying I know better. I'm just saying you don't know best. But also, the way they were talking about everything was people should listen to them because they're using the right words, not because they truly understood what they were saying. And I see that a lot more with content creators when it comes to autism, is somebody will talk about some shit in a very, no, everybody in the autism community feels this way. Well, no, they don't, because there's a fuck ton of us, and some people still call themselves Asperger. They still call themselves Aspies. I mean, I know of...
I've officially canceled you.
Yeah, thank you. I know of at least 6 different Facebook groups that total more than 2 million people just on Facebook who all still identify that way.
They're all bigots.
All right. Well, I'm not going to dismiss those people because, quite honestly, 2 million out of the, all the rest of the autistic people, that's a good sized number of autistic people.
That's the entire content creators of OnlyFans right there.
Exactly.
2 million.
It's just, don't shit on somebody and just don't automatically assume they're just an ignorant fuck just because they call themselves Aspie still. Maybe they were diagnosed 40 years ago and that's part of their identity. That's how they know themselves to be. Don't tell them they're wrong. They have to change how they identify themselves. Can I make an OnlyFans
and just live stream a sensory room?
I would really like you to.
Just the sensory. It's just
really like you to.
Just put in your pods and just this is my sensory room. It's nice and quiet.
I actually think it'd be really funny if we created an OnlyFans of this podcast.
This is kind of a sensory room because all the
sound,
is kind of, the soundproofing. It makes it quiet in here.
So no, I think that'd be a cool idea if we started an OnlyFans account of just the podcast. Like, how much do people have to pay to?
I think you need to show some toe. Nobody's gonna want to see that.
Nobody wants to watch that. All right,
and you can teach people how to part their hair in the middle.
All right, I would like to point out that my son, we got his haircut over the weekend, and my son thinks you're a creep for your haircut. He thinks your haircut is the weird one.
It's a normal haircut.
No, to him, side parting makes you creepy and douchey.
All right. Well, this is coming from a child, so.
He's 15. He ain't a child. He's a teenager.
It's still.
You're making fun of my middle part.
I'm just saying that your son is wrong. That's all.
Hey, and I'm saying you do look like Hitler Youth. I'm just saying.
All right.
By the way, that's a stolen joke from Anthony Jeselnik, who I'm a big fan of. So.
All right. Well, you could still teach people how to do a middle part in OnlyFans.
Ooh, I could.
That's all I was saying.
I could.
Just grab the comb, stick it down the middle.
You could teach beard grooming.
I don't even groom my beard.
I know, that's part of it. You just kind of stand there and go.
Well, if you take care of it the right way, you don't really need to do much grooming. You just trim it and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was like oils.
There are, but don't put that stuff on your face.
People do.
It's not.
Look, that's actually big industry.
The only reason people add beard oil to their beard, if their beard is drying out, it's because they're washing it too much. You don't want to use like shampoo or soap in your beard. And if you do shampoo it, you should only use soap in your beard very sparingly because there's natural oils in there, like the hair in your head. But your beard hair dries out really fast and gets like gross.
That's why you read up on it?
Kind of.
Yeah, all right.
Because I tried using the beard oil crap for a while, and I washed my beard. I had beard soap. I washed it, but it actually made my beard worse by like washing it with beard soap, putting beard oil in it. It's actually better just natural. Just let it naturally grow.
Oh.
I still wash it. I just don't use soap all the time. Use soap very rarely.
Oh.
Because the soap dries out everything. There's natural oil from your skin in the beard.
Yeah, that's called grease.
And it makes protects the hair though.
Yeah. So the more you know, everybody, that's called Beard Care by Steven.
Well, your hair's supposed to have oil in it too.
It does. It's called grease.
Yeah.
It's greasy and sweaty. Yep.
It's oil.
Well, all right, whatever. You can make it sound nice if you want.
Grease.
Uh-huh.
Grease, yes. I mean, people's hair can get kind of greasy, but the ironic thing is people who have greasy hair, it's usually because they shampoo too much.
Really?
So what happens is, not everybody, but a large portion of people, if you over shampoo your hair, if you wash it too much, your scalp produces more oil to compensate.
Okay. So how many days a week are people supposed to shampoo their head? I once read 3. I
don't know the exact number, but I'm just saying if it depends on the person, so you should experiment.
So. Yeah.
But I'm just saying a lot of people, if you shampoo too much, it actually makes your hair greasier. Your scalp will produce more oil because you're drying
to compensate. Yeah. I read an article a bunch of years ago that said 3 to 4 days a week, you should shampoo your hair, and on the other days you just rinse it out.
Well, that's the same thing with the beard. That's why you shouldn't shampoo your beard all the time. It makes the hair all gross and dry, and it makes the skin underneath irritated because you're washing off all the oil. It protects your skin and your
all right. Well,
your skin is supposed to have some like oiliness to it. It's not supposed to be like
I know.
Dry and gross.
I got it. And on that note, now that we've gotten a little bit of health care and skin care and beard care.
Grooming tips by Nick.
Yeah, that wasn't by Nick. That was grooming tips by Steve. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to our amazing podcast as always. Now, if you have any questions or comments, or if you'd like to prolong this conversation further about AI, OnlyFans, or algorithms, give us some feedback, drop us a conversation on any social media site, including Spotify, which I'm hoping you're listening to this on. Now, I will say, when it comes to OnlyFans, if you are a human being who has an OnlyFans account, please tell us how the fuck that works, because clearly me and Steve don't have.
We're gonna go sign up for a few right after this.
We are? Yeah, all right. Well, apparently we're going to be trying out
Let's see if Temple Granite has one. Well, I don't know what you were thinking.
Oh my God.
I was thinking she would share some of her lectures.
Well, that's exactly what I thought it was. I thought it was going to look like the episode we did. So it'd be in her kitchen with a chair behind her, and she's just telling us more stories about ways to help kids educationally. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That was the image in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah, it really was.
Okay.
Anyway.
I saw that painting of B. Arthur you have at your house.
Oh my good God. And it would be a Estelle Getty. Thank you very much. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back next week with our former podcast guest, Ben Sorensen from the wonderful country of Australia. He is a comedian, actor, activist, person, human being, and he's funny as hell. And I think we're going to touch on some Australian Star Wars with him one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Special thanks to our Patreon subscribers. Thank you, Ray Hansen,